What's going on, creators? Just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. And I appreciate you guys sharing, liking, subscribing, all the social networking things and all that. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about cutting the fat and being a little bit more picky when it comes to what you're allowing into your subconscious, what you're putting your attention on. This has to do a lot with mental diets, which I think is probably more beneficial than actual physical diets. It's like, where are you putting your attention and what are you allowing what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on positive information, uplifting information, things that help you, that benefit your soul, benefit your spirit? Or are you just like tuning into whatever garbage is on mainstream media, whatever hoax is hitting mainstream society at the moment? Really it depends on what you're wanting out of your life. If you really want to just follow the mainstream narrative and just keep reacting, that's one thing. But if you want to do something different and really focus on your mental well-being and making a positive impact in your community, in your town, in your city, in your family, or just want to move in a positive direction that you don't feel like you're draining your energy 24/7 on reacting to nonsense hoaxes, really focusing on cutting out that kind of stuff, and the importance of doing that, because as you start to unplug, as you start to really become more picky where it comes to your mental diet, it's amazing how almost instantly you start to notice a change in your well-being, for one, but then circumstances with people, environment, it's all connected. The inner consciousness really does start to externalize into your perception of reality, and the more that you start to change what the mental stories that are going on by doing different things, by putting your attention on different things, by really focusing on a mental diet, you'd be amazed how maybe damaged relationships start to repair themselves, just by your interpretation. So many times it's easy to start thinking you're a mind reader, or you understand something about what's going on in another person's consciousness, and you're able to pivot and move and manipulate and shit like that. Realize you don't know what other people are thinking. You really don't, and that's okay. Becoming more and more at peace with what is, and taking ownership of your state of consciousness is really where it's at anyway. You don't really need to control others like that. In a lot of ways it just enslaves you. The more that you're trying to manipulate others, the more you are actually manipulating yourself in a lot of different ways. But most importantly, it has to do with your perception of reality, and your perception and your state of awareness in the passing moments of now, because that's the only time that is actually real. And so many times we get caught up in, maybe we had an interaction with somebody, maybe we got careless, maybe got on social media. The thing about social media is, not to say it's a bad thing, really it is a neutral thing, but if you're sensitive to maybe others, and realize as you're scrolling, so many people's states of consciousness are on almost for sale. It's like somebody's depressed, somebody's vibing high, somebody's vibing low, somebody wants to attack some politician, somebody wants to attack some injustice that they perceive, somebody wants to try to sell you. There are always these offerings, and that's a really good way to look at like social media, and just what you're putting your attention on. Look at everything as just being an offering. It's like, do you want to buy into it? Do you not want to buy into it? And maybe taking a break, at least at the bare minimum, from some of these like social networks where you can just within 5 minutes look at the opinions of 100 people. If you're sensitive and are trying to move in a different direction, leaving that old man behind that was a victim, that is looking at everything as like some external threat that's like holding you down, and you're going to start seeing that confirmation bias. You start getting these loops of perception, because you are connected with a lot of the stuff going on. So if you have a negative belief or negative assumption, a chink in your armor, basically, don't be surprised then if you're like on social media, and then next thing you know, it's like it's everywhere. These companies make a tremendous amount of their their profits on your attention. So one of the easiest ways is to get people triggered, and then the next thing you know, they're on that platform more and more because of like the feedback loops that start to happen. And getting out of those kind of cycles, where you're just, inundating your consciousness with disempowering information for one, maybe stuff that's just triggering for two, but then you're also reinforcing maybe somebody else's states of consciousness. If you don't realize that that's an offering and you just buy into it, now all of a sudden you're kind of experiencing your perception of reality based on somebody else's state, and now you've kind of matched frequencies, and now you're kind of experiencing that. So really unplugging, really looking at the things that are in your day-to-day that break your flow. If Facebook is one of those things that breaks your flow, then unplug from it for a while. Not to say you don't want to destroy it or anything. That's part of like the old man. That's like, if I can't beat it, then I got to just destroy it and obliterate it. Just allow it to be. It was just, that's not for me right now. I'm going to take a break from it. I'm going to focus on my mental diet and then focus on, what feels good to expand on, and just unplug from it for a while. Realize that you're really opening yourself up to now impressing the subconscious with more deliberate impressions. What do you want to fill your consciousness with? Instead of just browsing through the unending states of consciousness. Your friends and family. What would you rather focus on? One of the best things that I found to do is whatever maybe is the goal. Maybe we want to expand in a new direction. Maybe it's health. Maybe you want to focus on maybe exercising more or whatever. You're just looking for a new kind of direction. You start filling your information with your attention, your consciousness with health related things. Working out, ideas on how you can exercise. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough time to do that. Maybe you can find a way to do some push-ups in between what you're doing. Take a break at your job, do some push-ups, and start filling your mind with maybe that person that's on that next level. Because a lot of times we start to want to embody a state, and maybe it's hard to imagine it until you see somebody else already embodying it. And in the past, where maybe like the old man, the ego mind self, would look at that as like, look at that person way up here, and then I feel jealous and envious of their success or where they're at, without seeing like the hours of maybe training that they put in, the diet and whatnot. But say you want a six-pack, maybe make this easier. Say you want a six-pack. Start listening to people that have six-packs and how they get that. Find some commonalities, vibe in their state. If kind of make it your own though. Don't just necessarily mirror what they're doing, because a lot of it has to do with their faith that brought them to that point. But use what they're saying to level yourself up, and ultimately, everybody's a guide out here in this kind of YouTube land. The real guide is within you, and so you start to connect with that more and more, and trust your intuition, trust that inner guidance system that God gave you, more and more so. It's part of like the programming of the world is always to depend on these external experts, where it's like with like playing guitar. I could teach you some sort of tips that are maybe applicable for like producing, which a lot of it has to do with learning better rhythm skills, because that really allows you to be very versatile when it comes to recording tracks for people. It's like, oh, I need something that sounds like that. It's awesome to play like lead guitar and stuff like for a crowd. It's kind of a different vibe though if you're trying to do a soundtrack or do something for like film or television or something like that. Games, it's really important to be able to play on time, play on rhythm, and you get more work that way. And so, not to say that when I'm looking at other guitar players, there was a time where it's like, oh, I wanted to be the best in the world. I'd be like the next Hendrix or something like that. And now it's just like a process of running my own race and looking at everybody. There's a guy. Let me see if I can find his channel as I'm just talking, because he's an incredible guitar player, but he plays like a blues style, and it is like a blues finger picking style. It's really neat. I'd love to give him a shout out if I can find it really quick. I don't like having a lot of dead me browsing time. I know you guys' time is valuable, even though it's now. We're spending now together, so you can watch me meander around here. I'm not seeing it very fast, but it doesn't matter. But like the point is, he shows like a different type of technique that I haven't heard before, and you use that to incorporate in my own playing, but not to try to totally bite on this guy's style, because it took so much time and effort and energy to really learn now. But it's like that next level up, which that helps you to level up. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't to look outside of yourself and get jealous, but like look at that as like, oh look, there's an awesome guy out here or girl that is doing something that's going to help me level up, and then move on, and continue to run my own race, your own race, but incorporate it, but ultimately go within to continue to grow and to expand. But I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention, to really focus on your mental diets, to cut the fat, cut the things that are breaking your flow, and more than likely, if it's probably something you're watching through a screen. It's like whether it's the news, whether it's the internet, whether it's social media, your phone, tablet, these type of shit, where you're just like gawking through a screen and then getting triggered and then thinking that your entire reality is like that. So many times I'll see these things going on in California that have no resemblance to reality here where I live in Indiana. It's night and day different, but like to think that these are real problems for me, they're not. Those are problems for people that live in that area, and hopefully those problems are solved, with the people that live in that area. But do I need to take on these problems that I have no control over at all, when I can only really kind of just navigate in my own town, my own community, try to build my own, that's on the people that live there to tackle these problems. And it's not the government to tackle these problems, it's the individual, it's the people that live in these places, and but not to let your consciousness be polluted by these problems that aren't probably even real problems, probably are just hoaxes, in a lot of different ways, but the ones that aren't, you can be sympathetic, but you don't need to just have your worldview, your paradigm of reality be shaped by external forces, by the media, by just what algorithm is like trying to sell you, or what algorithm trying to hold your attention so that you can be bought and sold to advertisers and politicians and people that want your attention. Become more picky when it comes to that, and cut the fat, and and whatever's breaking your flow, that's what you need to address. And so I wanted to bring that to you guys and share that, and continue on your I don't know, your expansive journey of like whatever, your dreams coming true. And with that being said, I'm going to bounce. So thanks for listening, everybody, and have a good rest of your now, and God bless.